Welcome, and thanks for joining us at the home base of another splendiferous Junkcast. I am your eating apparatus adorned in Angora, Kozi Spoon.
And
Pause
I'm
for Deji.
Just Deji.
Perfect. And we're here, as is the MO of all Junkcast, to dish and discuss on the latest enterVoid endeavor to hit our humble comics battling community, the Tag Team Tournament Living Dead Party. So, what is a Tag Team Tournament? And what's with all this living dead business? Well, let me explain and break it down for you. Okay, this tourney consists of two artists who enter their respective characters as a team and work together to battle other teams in glorious sequential battle. And in honor of October's Month of the Dead, which for those who don't know or maybe new, October is when if your character's been killed in battle or you guys went real hard and were like, oh man, I lost, I'm dead, you can use them during this month. And this is the only month in which you can do that. So the fact that they're able to be part of a tournament is kind of rare. So the people that got in are super luck. Also, as we delve into these battles for further discussion, please note that while we're live, all these battles are still open for voting and comments. Like, literally, they got a whole day left. So if you haven't added your 2 cents, please do so, because who knows, by the end of this cast, you may be inspired to be like, I have something to say. Okay, but before we get into all that fun and games, Deji has an update and some juicy deets regarding the Voider of the Month.
Voider of the Month. In case you haven't noticed, it's kind of like a little project to try and encourage not only some of the competitive flair in our community, but to give some dedicated and respectful members a chance to shine in the spotlight for all their hard work. So basically, how it's going to go is that every month, a rotating staff member is responsible for keeping an eye on the community within the enterVoid comic site and the Discord server. So they'll be on the lookout for a member who kind of shines the brightest in terms of their own criteria, whether that's posting some absolutely mind-blowing comics, consistently voting as well as creating on the site, and helping out old and new members in various situations. And really just anything positive that, showcases that this individual is putting that extra effort into helping out the site in the Discord. So
You're the special.
You're the special. Congrats. So I will be announcing the October Voider of the Month in early November with a surprise fan art illustration for my Voider of the Month pick. So yeah, I guess just keep a lookout, and remember, it's not too late to make the enterVoid community an even better place, and you might just get a special shout out for it. You will be the special. So
change you want to see.
Be the change. But yeah.
Right. Well, with further ado, we're going to get into the crit breakdown. We're going to be dealing with the tag team tournament, which is Arts and Raji versus Underwood and Heathen, Justa Rhymes and Neens versus Fred and Kubo, and PETA and Camel versus Magistil and Pocket Mouse, as well as Snowy and Heaven's Bat versus Bobo and Gregory. And as for breakdowns, I'm going to be focusing on Arts and Raji, Underwood and Heathen, Just Rhymes, Neens, and Fred and Kubo. And Deji is going to be slapping us with PETA Camel, Magistil Pocket Mouse, and Snowy Heaven's Bat versus Bobo and Gregory. I probably butchered all your names, and I'm so sorry, but that's what we're going to do. All right, Deji, do you want to get started on your side? And let's discuss.
I don't know why I didn't pull up the comics, because I want to look at them as I read them.
Fully encourage that you look at them.
Yeah, because they're all beautiful, and why would I not want to look at them? Okay, so I'm gonna start with Daru and Croy, Snowy Moth, and Heaven Bat's side. So let's see. Oh my god, my internet is so bad. Okay, first of all, this comic was so wholesome. It warmed my heart. I love all of these characters. Honestly, just the matchup between all of you artists in general was amazing. If your guys' art styles had cheeks, I would literally just pinch them. It's just so good. But it's all just really soft and adorable, and yeah, I'm super here for it. So to start off, I really liked the writing here. The character development in terms of Reggie and Gwen's relationship was treated super well in terms of the two gaining an understanding for the other's concerns. Reggie being too overprotective of Gwen, and, Gwen being too concerned about, other people and not protecting herself. So yeah, it was a good callback to the Yaya versus Gwen and Reggie matchup not too long ago. visually, as a little bit of a crit, I thought the backgrounds maybe could have used some work. Some of the panels felt kind of empty, like Dario's dojo. Like it looks great and everything, but adding like little things, into comics or buildings in general, like cracks or like things laying around or just things to kind of give the building character seriously go a long way. But yeah, I guess that kind of just goes for like everything in general too in the rooms. But yeah, that's basically that for that. Another reason the panels kind of felt a little bit off was just because everything was pretty close up, just like the views and everything. So I guess just next time, don't be afraid to try out some new perspective shots and kind of let us see the story from other angles. And this will also help in the background practice too, because it gives you kind of a chance to show the whole room and, try drawing things from different angles. It's really interesting to see. Like, you'll start, like, really appreciating small things, like perspective grids, for example. But you can make some super cool shots using that stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. I posted a bit of some of the peaks in which you made attempts at that, in which we saw a bit of the dojo, and I wish the camera would have panned out to give us more of a perspective of it, because I wanted to see the personality as to what your character's influence is in the space, because it's not just four walls and a ceiling, it's a place where she lives and works. And I think that we saw a bit of that on Flighty side with their battle, in which they interacted with your character, and I kind of wanted to see more of that, especially from you, because you're the source.
Okay, I just wanted to hit up on the topic that was brought up on the site comments, and that topic was the use of space within the canvas in the comic, sorry. It kind of feels like it's floating around within, like, that gray color that surrounds it. And there was nothing, like, with, like, color clashing or anything. It's just, yeah, like, that was just the color of the gutters. But I kind of wish, everything was a little bit more spread out. I know it was, like, a Webtoon kind of format. I don't know if that was intended or not, but it's kind of when you use, like, the bubbles to guide the eye. But I would suggest kind of looking into, like, other webcomic artists and how they utilize, like, different kinds of panels and different kinds of like speech bubbles to guide the eye, as well as not have to make so much space for the speech bubbles, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Quick question for you, Deji. What are your thoughts on this new Webtoon format? Because I notice a lot more voiders are using it now for their battles.
There's like the long, like the scroll format and everything. I think if it's done, I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way to do it, because, it's webcomics. They haven't been around for that long. And even if they have, like, it wasn't really that popular up until quite recently. So it's really hard to say. I kind of just like to treat it as, like, its own thing. I'm not expecting a Webtoon format, but I do like, the scrolling comics, because I think there's a lot of really cool things you can do. Like, I haven't really explored it myself, but using the scroll format to, like, shift into other things, shift into different settings or moods or, the character's thoughts. You can utilize it in so many cool ways.
Yeah. But I can also see what you're meaning with just the wealth of space that isn't being utilized.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, honestly, I mostly respect you guys for, like, trying out a new format like that. It's
for
just,
sure.
Like, it takes so much guts to do something, and I think the more you practice it, and, like, if you try it more, which I highly encourage, like, hone your craft. Show us how it's done. Do some more research, take some inspiration from other people. It really helps.
For sure.
Yeah, but other than that, like, that's for crits. The comic itself is so cute. I love the colors. They fit really well. They're also really soft and cute. Everyone's drawn so adorable.
Okay, hold on. I definitely wanted to make a note of that. Can we talk about the adorability of these dojo kids? Like,
no, look at them.
What is that? Is that a gecko? It's so freaking cute with his fat tail.
Oh my gosh! And on that page, the nose boob is like my heart. Like, I could feel it. Like, have you ever had, like, a dog or a cat, like, smush their nose onto you? I literally felt it. It was so wholesome. And, like, Gwen being like, I want to learn. And like, you know, just that character development, it's so like delicious. It's just, I don't know.
For sure.
So good. And then also like Dario and Croy at the end, you know, talking about, you know, training new kids. Like, I'm interested. Bring it on. Like, I want to see where else this goes.
Yeah, I didn't expect this cloud goddess to be so wholesome. I just really enjoyed it.
I don't know. I mean, I want more. But
I concur.
yeah, I think that's my crit for that comic. I'll make sure to, you know, write it out somewhere after I'm done. But overall, like, really good job. I'm gonna move on to Bobo and Gregley's side because I don't want to take up too much time. So let me pull that up. I really wish I could be one of those people that has like, I don't know if I wish, but like some people can have like 50 tabs on at the same time. And I gotta like have one on.
The part where I start sweating. I don't know what that feels like at all.
Yeah. Okay, I got it here. Oh, burst of color. It's beautiful. Okay, let's go. So, yeah, I don't know. Like looking at this first page, I just really adore the way we're introduced into this comic. Like, I'm all for this like off the grid setting. As it kind of looks on to like this Armageddon wound city of void. Like it's on fire, it's smoking. No one wants to be there. Like I would probably run away too. So, but yeah, like they're out there having like this fashion show, and it's the cutest thing ever. And I know Bobo was behind this because, like, why wouldn't they be? You know, like I see you, and these are amazing.
I just love the fact that the title of this whole tournament is Tag Team Living Dead, and we all just know Bobo's like, makeover, fashion show!
Yeah, the more characters, the more fashion designs, and like, yeah, I don't know, it's pretty good. So,
although it seems, based off of the comments, that we have Gregley to thank for that.
Yeah, I know, I was surprised. I was like, what? But like, yeah, and like Gwen and like her hat and everything, and I thought that was the cutest thing, and like, I don't know. Ugh. Yeah, Bobo designed all the clothes. Beautiful. I don't know. I loved it all. Everyone was so cute. Everything was so good. The armor was good. You know, like, just Ansel. Oh, I love her. I love her so much. But I'm going to quit gushing. I'm going to get back on my notes here. So, I'm going to go into a little bit of a crit. I'm going to echo Versus. He critiqued here at the beginning how, you know, Reggie's all like metallic and everything, and you know, there's like that blue light and it looks like it's reflecting from the window, and I was like, oh yeah, like this is so cool. But yeah, and then I noticed like everyone else kind of had this like, you know, blue airbrush effect, and I was like, oh, you know, it kind of looked like it was like bleeding into the line art a little bit, which I don't know. What did I get? Sorry, I got tagged in something. But yeah, I feel like for Reggie it would have worked, but maybe not everyone else. But I don't know. I think that's an easy fix, and I don't really think it took away from the comic. Anyways, they also touched a few times on the comment section how in other scenarios, where like, you know, cartoony line art and rendered coloring, they would sort of clash. And like, I don't know, that's kind of a hard thing to control when you're, you know, collabing and everything, because you never actually know how it's really gonna look. So to kind of not fix it, but I would suggest experimenting with other, you know, different coloring styles. Try to go a little more solid, or you could try a thinner line art style and do more rendered coloring in that. And I don't know, just like test things out, you know, just for future reference. Just see what works, what doesn't. It's kind of just, what's the word thing again? Trial and error. That's what it is.
Got it.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I'm split on that for sure, because it's definitely not what you expect with a toony style, but I was kind of refreshed by I don't know if I would call it a clash, but I would definitely call it an odd marriage. But it's something that I haven't seen, at least not utilized very often. So for me, it was kind of aesthetically a nice surprise.
It's really interesting, like especially on like Reggie, like how like the metal renders on it. Like I think that looks amazing. But yeah, I don't know enough about like art to be like, oh, like you could probably try that on, you know, Anselin. But I don't know, it really did work in some spots, and in other spots, you know, it might have just not. But it all comes down to experimenting, and yeah. But I really liked it, anyways. Yeah, like hold on, look at this one picture that you posted with like his shoulders. Like, look at them. It looks like amazing. It looks like real metal.
He's really ripped.
He's really ripped. That was like also one of my favorite parts when like Reggie would like get up to go do something and they'd be like, "No, your outfit, save it." Like, it was like really nice to like almost see him not jump into the face of danger. You know, like he was kind of forced to like sit back.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we seen like Anselin deal with that, and it was really interesting because with her standing up and, you know, like against like Croy and stuff, you could see that she was taking a lot of heat from even people like Reggie who were like, you know, you could have used your armor during Armageddon. And I thought that part was really interesting because I don't know, like you would think in a city full of, you know, heroes and everything, like people would have more, or they would use their resources more, you know? But yeah, anyways, I thought that was cool.
I did want to touch on the sound effects because I feel that there were so many opportunities for it that I found it interesting the moments where you guys chose to use them and where you chose not to. Like, for example, this series of action, I would have thought that Anselin's sword, being something so magical and bombastic, would have had a sound effect to going through a demon, but it's the explosion instead that gets the sound effect. And I'm wondering if that was intentional or not, or if maybe, I don't know, maybe the sword is sound dampening, or that the moment was so impactful that it was silent. I'm not sure what the message there was.
Because the design is like super sleek, and you almost wouldn't explode it to be like, boom, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think on it, but I am definitely interested to see the perspective. Anyways, though, no, speaking of sound effects, it was really good in like the majority of the comic though. Like in the part where Anselin was like, you know, all of her equipment was coming together and you had like those like, you know, like the tick tick, like the sound effects, and it was just, I don't know, it was kind of weird. I could like hear it in my head. It was like pretty cool. Not only that, but you also had like the action panels to kind of emphasize it. Like, hold on, I gotta look back at it. But yeah, like using like, you know, those sharper action panels to like show the movement was like amazing. I just thought that sequence was so cool. It was like a magical girl transformation, but like sleeker. I don't know.
Not to continue on the whole like lauding train, but there is a sequence of pages that completely blew me away, was just how seamless and just smooth it went. I think it was pages, it starts on page, let me see.
There was
I'm pretty sure it's page 11, where Anselin is engaging in a battle with a disguised Dario. And the fact that you guys managed to keep the action going, but also managed to implement flashbacks of recognition on Anselin's part with panels that were in sepia and sort of increased in number the more she realized, wait, I know who this person is. I thought that was such a genius move.
Yeah, the flashbacks were so good. Like, I don't know, it was just implemented really well in general. Like, I'm just looking back at it. Yeah, no, I don't, and like story-wise, I thought it was cool too, because, you know, like, Ansel, like, they fight, like, it's just, I don't know, it's awesome.
That, and I love Gwen and Reggie, because you know they watch Spanish novellas, because their reaction was so on point. They were like, dun dun dun.
Oh, they're so cute. Everyone's so cute. But I'm gonna go back. This is hard. Switching between tabs is hard. I'm pretty sure there's like shortcuts for this, but
you're doing great, sweetie.
I'm not that smart. Yeah, I guess no, that actually kind of does cover my notes. I was literally saying in here, like, my favorite part is you know, like the action scenes. Actually, no, there's a part here I wanted to kind of cover. I have to kind of echo with like Sai and like Jester Rhymes here, but when Croy came in, like while Dario was really smooth, he kind of came in as like kind of evil looking, and like yeah, like as Sai said, like even in comics we haven't seen much of him. I wasn't really expecting him to come off as like, you know, like a fuck your shit up, like mafia boss, you know, kind of thing. So I was like, oh, like maybe he's got like a secret, you know, like different intentions going on. But like he actually, you know, seems pretty nice. So
I have to
it
echo
was just
that as
kind of
well. I feel that out of all the characters featured on their side of the comic, everyone got their moment to shine and some
yeah,
context and some development, except this one. It feels like they got the least.
yeah, and like yeah, he was still in it. It just like, you know, I feel like maybe what it was missing was some kind of like transition between, you know, fashion show to like mafia boss. Like, there could have been like, I don't know, maybe like a security breach. Like I feel like Anselm would have more than just like, you know, him just walking in and being like, what was it? Yeah, like him just walking in. Because she had like all the guns ready to go and everything. But like, how did he get in? You know?
Or
Oh, no, I guess
maybe,
there's
should
Hannah
you
too.
guys get to the next round, we might see more of a feature. Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
see.
No, but honestly, it was great. It was super soft, super cute. The action scenes were great. The
Oh, yeah.
outfits were adorable. Yeah, great job, you guys. I'm gonna let Cozy move on to, I believe, the next one.
Oh, okay. You want to just bounce ping pong it? I can
Yeah,
totally
if you
work with
want.
that. Heck yeah, I'm
Whatever
down.
works. Okay.
So we're going to move on to Chica Chicana and El Catador, which is drawn by Raji and Arts and Goodies. And their opponents were Underwood and Heathen. But at the deciding hour, Underwood and Heathen encountered some technical issues, which was unfortunate and resulted in missing the deadline to submit. But they still submitted a comic. But we're still going to talk about it. But first, we're going to start with this one. And let me get myself to that page. Let me see. Where are y'alls? Here we go. I would have to say my first takeaway was this comic was a great dovetail from the events of Arma. I think it's a good deal, and I think a good deal of the crits and comments given so far have noticed that too. It's great to see a linear storyline in Void. People love seeing, you know, what the latest and greatest is with characters that they want to follow. And I think the biggest influence has been Chica's. She just came off of Armageddon and is now a hero. And for those who aren't like familiar with, I don't know, Void lore, the whole deal is that Toons are kind of looked down on. And now Armageddon happened, and the Defenders team not only succeeded, but Chica was on that team who happened to be a Toon, and now sentiment is completely changed, which I think is a really great themes and ideas to work with. I think when it comes to critique, my first takeaway upon first read is that your opponents felt really sidelined, which they felt sidelined in favor of this budding romance. I don't mind that there's a romance there, and I think it was actually pretty charming that we see some hints as to Catador having some, I don't want to say childhood, but maybe some past admiration for Chica and her work and her previous time on her, I'm not sure if it was a kid's cartoon or just a cartoon in general,
Mhm.
but I definitely, I feel like we were left on a cliffhanger, which I think was intentional, kind of like a, maybe if you guys push us through, you'll get to see more. But I think due to the unfortunate default, we may be able to see an explanation of that. So here's hoping. But this definitely felt more of a, we're talking about Chica and Catador, and yeah, I guess our opponents are here too. Which I was like, your opponents have such potential for some great stuff, especially with a character who's already dealt with great stuff in Armageddon with a very threatening threat. So I really thought that this was going to be familiar territory in which you guys were going to utilize them more. So the fact that it was a little more of like, it felt like a cameo to me, that I was just like, oh, I really, it left me wanting. Let me see. I am uncertain as to how the work was divvied up, but I will have to echo some of the great feedback you got in your comments, and namely Putrid Vodka's critique, given that it feels like the pages, I'm not really sure how the division of work happened, but the pages that maybe Arts worked on took great care in rendering Catador, which is his character, but all the other elements, including Chica, felt like they didn't get the same amount of attention. I'm very confused by that because at least my opinion, a good team up strategy is to take a page and have both artists infuse it with what their specific strength in. And in my humble opinion, I think it's no secret, especially based off of the event of Armageddon, is that Raji's claim to fame is not only sound effects but also inking, which left me surprised that they weren't the one. I am assuming, feel free to correct me, they weren't the one taking point on inks. I see typing, and I will read this typing. Raji was sketches and lettering, and I did inks and colors. We tried infusing it, and I think that's part of why it didn't work. Maybe changing to split it. Yeah, I will fully admit, Arts, I haven't followed your battles enough to sort of spotlight what I think your strength is. I think, of course, your strength is furries, which I think is really great considering both these characters, in essence, despite one being a toon and one not, they're both furries. But I can't say with like the confidence that I have with, based off of the events of this past arm, I was like, oh, that I recognize that as Raji's work because I know he's strong in this. I want to see your strengths better showcased in possibly the next round. And when I say possibly, I mean definitely, because you guys will be in the next round.
Although, sorry, I just want to say,
Feel go.
One of the things though that I really do think arts that you showcased in this, I could actually, like, I could tell because I know you've been working on it, but the coloring was really good. I thought,
you went ahead of me. I was totally going to talk about that next.
Yeah, but I guess, but like that's kind of like what I know came from you, and I feel like, yeah, you did a really good job, doing that. So, but yeah, like Kozi said, maybe just trying it up different because, yeah, you guys will be moving on, and that's just a really cool opportunity to kind of, build up on all of that.
Yeah, I think the colors in the club, which I wish we got a name for this club. Maybe I missed it in all the colors. I love that palette. It just feels very hedonistic, and it fits the theme of where he's just chilling, like a super dug. That in like Catador's design, I've seen him drawn differently, but whatever you guys are doing now, keep doing it because I really love the stylization and I love the look of him here. It definitely gives off a more slick intention, which I think fits with their theme.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think my favorite page has to be on page 9 where he walks out of the car and he just like slicks his hair back. I just like, that's quintessential Catador. Like when I think of the character, that's what I see. And
yeah, that angle's really good too.
Right? Oh gosh, I really dug it. And I love the fact that like the admiration was mutual between the characters. Like it wasn't just Chica being sort of interested just for laughs. It was sort of like a, wow, I'm into him. And Catador going, I'm into you and I have some context behind it. But then we get the to be continued.
See in that way, and it makes us kind of excited, I think, to see what's going to happen.
Do you have anything further to add?
I don't think so. Just good job, you guys.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on to The Hands of Time, Wheel of Fate, Part 1, which artists are Underwood and Heathen. Let me get to that comic. So I've already covered the context as to the default, which is, it's such a bummer. Like, I really wanted to see these comics go toe-to-toe, but that deadline is such a killer. And it just really sucks that things that are out of our control can affect that. But I digress. I do think that it is admirable that rather than wallow in just the bummer of just your circumstance, the pair not only submitted a beyond battle of their efforts, but they made it a part 1. No doubt working hard to ensure that we will be inspired not only to read what's coming up, but they're going to be following along with the tournament. At least I hope. Which I think is kind of an echo to what people were doing with Armageddon, submitting their collabs and stuff and kind of hyping up the tournament. So I hope we see more of the same with this. Another great comic that got some great comments. I fully agree with Futini's comment that this artist pair are style chameleons. When I went through it the first time, the 80s style is super duper apparent and is rife throughout the battle. I got some really heavy Mobius caliber inspiration and style, especially with the sci-fi landscapes and the building design, as well as a little bit of Brandon Graham, which is, I don't know if you guys know, was kind of sort of a Void alum. They were here for sort of a blink of an eye. Let me see. The things that I wanted to take away, I was scrolling through your guys' comments based off community response, and I was like, oh, they already said it. Like Bobo was saying in their comment, which mentions the sheer amount of detail that was infused in there. And only in the span of 2 weeks. Like, despite the technical kerfuffle that happened, they still managed this in the deadline. And I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Also, can we talk about Egg Dealer being a Jabba the Hutt inspired cult leader / arena Caesar? I love the fact that despite the fantastical setting that you have, which is out in space, which feels like it's miles away from the setting that everyone uses, you're still utilizing aspects of Void and many of its characters to make this still feel in universe and feel like even though you guys are light years away, this still feels like Void City. Like, you didn't just choose a no-name person. You were like, let's infuse what the community has given us as parts of inspiration. I don't know. I thought that was neat. Let me see, what
Looking
else?
at the page, it's so funny.
All right.
Like, all the egg puns.
I just like the fact that he's just slapping eggs on himself. I was like, okay.
Fork.
Yeah.
The sound effects really make it.
Oh, dude, it was like 2 parts disgusting and amazing, and I think that was the intention. I do find it interesting that in both your comic and the opponent's comics, your own characters feel sidelined or an afterthought. While I think it's cool to follow the journey and adventures of this monk that you guys have introduced, I was left wanting way more of your actual characters because I feel that there's still a mystery. And that said, what did that ending mean? What was the other guy's origin story? Is that what this origin... You end the comic on this monk having a fist protrude from their mouth, and then the other guy kind of manifests. Is this the spider biting Peter Parker's hand moment? Have we seen the birth of Spider-Man here? I'm not sure. Deji, do you have anything to add?
I'm just looking. But yeah, I do know that like the monk character was the other guy, but I know the welcome wagon didn't really show up until like very end here.
Like, I would forgive them being something of a mystery character in which their tag team partner has to discover. Like, I thought that was the intention, but I had to reread the other guy's bio because I don't think that the monk is featured at all in the design sheet or in the context. So when I read the comic on first read, I'm like, who is this person? Like,
oh yeah, for sure. It took me like I think a read over, but yeah, there's nothing in the bio or the design sheet. It's kind of just what I gathered from the comic. Although having something to kind of nod at, in the bio or reference probably would have been nice. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I do want to see how it continues. So
Franken
I'm excited.
says, look super closely at the base of the ref sheet. You see the monk's little legs dangling. Maybe that's sort of like a Where's Waldo of a design sheet. It's like the monk was there the entire time.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ping pong it back to you unless you have anything to add to this side.
No, I think it's good. But yeah, I do think it was unfortunate with all the technical difficulties and everything. But you guys produced such a good comic, and like I'm excited to see what parts come after. It's going to be super good. I'm pumped overall.
I do like that it's just unintentional, more hype for this tournament because I think that the turnout of people who signed up and the people that were chosen and the first round matchups, I thought were really perfect. Like, we haven't talked about it yet, but J-Pop and Rue versus Lucy and Pepperbox, I thought was such a fantastic matchup.
I'm so excited to talk about that one.
And after listening to your crit, I think that Dario and Croy and Anselin and Gwen was also a great matchup. I know this is, I'm going to give you guys some Steph exclusive peaks, but like, these are randomized. We don't plan them. Like, we just go, all right, we're going to put this in a random number generator and let the chips fall where they may. So the fact that this happened, I thought was really great.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. Everyone just like compliments each other in like the best ways. And everyone, used that opportunity to make some really good stories. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm so proud of all of you. You did so good.
The excitement that you see such unexpected or even expected matchups, that some great stuff happens. Like, I think a lot of people hope for like, oh, I hope I get this person, and maybe They get somebody completely unexpected and they have to pull something out, and what they pull out is probably even better than what they were intending.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So
I
good.
digress. Let's swing it on back to your side.
Yeah, for sure. I just got. This feels like every time we gotta switch comics, I'm like, oh, I gotta find the
Scroll.
I'm not this fast. I got like these like little sausage figures. They're trying so hard.
Don't hurt yourself.
Don't used you imagine? I probably would. Okay. Blah blah blah. Ugh. Gosh. Okay. I'm almost there. Okay. There we go. There we almost go.
What are we talking about?
I can't find my stuff. Okay, no. Okay, we're good. So now we're going to go into Zoe and the Gravediggers versus Winslow Oswell and Lev. And I don't know. First of all, I just want to say, like, these two were probably my favorites. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say like favorites to be like, that person, but like I just overall, the tag team like matchups as well as, the artists, everyone did so good. It was so like professional quality in both comics, and both of them made me feel things. And it just
No, I love it when they make you feel things.
I know, like, how dare you, but also thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, but how dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Mood.
But yeah, they were really good. Yeah, I don't know. There's just kind of like just some basic kind of crits for these. Obviously, sorry, I'm covering Zoe and the Gravediggers first, Peta and Camel's side, but yeah. Other than what is it? There was like a few unfinished pages at the end there. I think it was like, what? Where's my pages? It was like near the end where you guys kind of started flickering out of steam there. It was a big story though. Like I think you guys kind of might have just took on a little too much story wise, and like, like it happens. Honestly, it's so common that people, just can't make it some like to a part. But I'm so glad that you guys were still able to get the story finished. Despite
despite those pages, I think the intention and some of the detail is definitely still there, because despite it not being as rendered as the first couple pages, like I think about that expression of, am I saying it right, Lev? I just think it's really great.
Yeah, like I agree. Like honestly, I think this like barely took away from it. I don't know if other people, will disagree or whatever, but I personally wasn't really that fazed by it. The thing that did get to me a little bit, and as well as other people, was kind of taking that other take where you have, you have Zoe and Clippo, but they're human characters. It's in an alternate universe, and I personally think that's like, it's a really brave decision, and it's risky, but I don't know. Like I personally really liked it. I really liked seeing the redesign of Zoe and Clippo, and seeing how you guys would do that. I thought it was pretty cool, but I can understand it being a tag team tournament and people being kind of upset that they didn't see, like your actual characters.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously it's like still your characters, but it's a little bit different. Yeah, but I think that might have been most of people's beef was all. And because it's tag team. People want to see your characters, but on the other hand, you guys portrayed like Winnie and Lev so well. Both the stories were really great. It was kind of split into like those two stories, and I kind of actually got a little bit confused at the beginning as I was reading it. I was like, okay, like how do these relate? But yeah, anyways, but near the end, like it compensated because it all came together, and it was really cool seeing like at the very end there with all the action shots and everything, and like it was very cinematic with like the parallels and all that when like Lev succeeded in the competition, and Winnie saved the bird, and it was just like, oh, like my heart, like it was really good.
I don't know what
doubts, it was good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I was going to say, I don't know what your inspiration was for your backgrounds and just the setting of the apartment, but I really enjoy that establishing shot on page 1. Like,
Yeah.
that feels so lived in. I love the fact that there are other people in the background. It felt real. Like, Bobo
Yeah.
just hit the nail on the head. Even the security cam on the second panel while Zoe is buzzing in, I thought that was neat.
Yeah,
And
and
the fact
everyone's
that all
different
the
writings.
apartments, they're all different writing styles. All the
Yeah.
details, I eat them up.
It's so good. I literally get like chills talking about it because I'm like, I love it.
This is the stuff we nerd out about. More of this.
Yeah, like welcome to I don't have a life. But yeah, the part that I actually really loved was Winnie's like apartment, or yeah, I guess that's what I'll call it. But like in the background, he had like destroyed, like flower pots, and the fridge had like, dents in it, and like it looked kind of ruined. And like not only that, but the colors used, like the darker color scheme used, just it really, again, like I'm gonna keep saying this, but it felt really cinematic to me.
It showed that you did your homework by researching who your opponent was. Because for those who don't know, that character is like stupid strong. Like they can't control their own strength. So the fact that you echoed that personality trait without exposition, without some awkward, oh, this is my name and this is what I do, but you did it with the elements of your environment and the background was just chef's kiss.
And like, yeah, actually, speaking of research, you guys obviously did like a lot of research into like, the rock climbing stuff. Like I didn't know anything about that stuff. Or I don't know anything about that stuff. Like, if I see a rock, like I'm probably just gonna go try and climb it without any like gear. But like I don't know anything about the actual sport. So seeing like, how you can I don't even know, just the entire thing was really well done. I loved the announcers, and I loved, him like stealing the route for like Lev, and he had to like, go off the route, and like I don't know, it was really good. And like there was just things I didn't know about, like when he had to like rest his hands and he could, I don't know, it was wonderful to me that you guys
I know what a
did that.
carabiner is now. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, isn't that just fantastic? Yeah, and then I guess the last thing I kind of want to touch on is the part with Lev where like, he gets a little bit cocky and he's like, he's feeling all right. And then, he has to kind of rush and find that different route. I just thought it was like really cool because I like when characters have their good moments, but even better, I like when people give them, those down moments where they really have to like push themselves to succeed. And it's just, I thought that was really good. Same with Winnie going through all those like the entire story. It was really well done. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't really have, just like, yes, things may have taken a downswing at the end, but I think that's sort of part and parcel of being in a tournament with a deadline, especially even with two people. It's just really hard, especially if you have a vision and you really want to stick to that vision. You're like, oh, I got this great story. And yes, it may be a lot of pages, but I really think we can do it. I think the intention is there, and regardless of the quality, I think the story is strong enough that it is a good contender to your opponent's work. Because I was really invested in the story, and I really dug it.
Too. I guess we can move on to the next one.
Let's do
it. Okay. Let's go. Oh, gosh. I just love opening up these comics from, like, we're reviewing them, and I'm like, oh, I forgot how, like, gorgeous this is. Yeah, like, right off the bat, like, just looking at, like, I don't know. I'm just gonna talk about the whole comic. The entire comic is just gorgeous as well. I already said it, you guys, like, both of these comics are really professional looking, and, like, I honestly wasn't actually expecting any less from Magistel and Pocket Mouse, because they're both amazing. Like, we all know this. But, yeah, like, it's super gorgeous. The coloring in the first page here is amazing, and then, you switch, and you're, just the whole backgrounds, the buildings, it's all gorgeous, and, like,
to say of the whole tournament, this matchup I think is going toe to toe with the backgrounds and environments that they've utilized. Like, they're both good.
They're both so good. I like can't get over it. Like, look at the coffee shops, and like I just. Anyways, I know you can't, like, I need like my bullet points so that I can stay on topic, or else I'm just gonna sit here and like look at the comic and I'll see like tiny thing and kind of gush over it. But this is that's time consuming. So let's go back to my points here.
You're looking. I do want to note that I like the fact that both teams kind of unintentionally had their own artistic license on how they depicted their opponents, in which, the first comic had the artist sort of repurposing their characters to fit the humanoid theme. In Winslow versus Lev, or Winslow and Lev's side, they have Zoe turning into a monster chicken, in which they utilize via the necklace, and they fight her off. And I just thought it was really cool to see the character in a completely different light in both comics.
For sure. And Zoe's like dead. Like, you gotta find different ways to work around kind of the site rules to like make that stuff happen, or like not even the site, but kind of like the Void City canon. Like, how would this actually work? And it's not like it's out of the norm for like a monster. Like, if a monster chicken came, like, we'd all be like, okay, like, what's
just another Tuesday?
It's just another Tuesday. But yeah, I know some people in the crits were actually kind of on that. Some people felt like, I don't know, where's some here? Like, Zoe wasn't herself kind of thing. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like,
well,
I guess
it makes
people
sense that she's not herself because she's wearing that amulet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like people wanted more of her character, but I don't know. I mean, I personally thought it kind of, fit the scenario. I thought the story was really consistent. I thought it was all, like, it all made sense to me,
Definitely a 50-50 thing when it comes to the community. Like, a lot of people,
exactly,
when they see a matchup, they want to see people be loyal to what's depicted, what's on the design sheet, and not really fall out of those constraints, which I think is okay. Sometimes when you want to go into a Zoe comic, you want to see Zoe. But other people think outside the box and want to see things that are outside the box and want to go like, well, yeah, I love Zoe, but wouldn't it be cool if Zoe was like made out of clouds? Like, how would you contend with that? Like, I think both have validity, and I think Void as a site allows for any artist to choose one or the other. And I don't think either are right or wrong. I just think that just comes part and parcel with coming into this community going, oh, I'm going to have another artist draw my characters and interpret my story in a way that they see fit. And we're going to see whether or not, once we battle it out, which side the community likes more.
And it's cool because if you actually, go through like the comments and crits and everything, I know I did before I was reviewing these comics, but it's interesting to see other people's perspective and kind of weigh it and be like, I don't know, like, does that make sense, or would that make sense? Like, is this, like, it's interesting because I like to see other people's point of views. You have people that do like certain things and don't like certain things, and you're kind of like, I don't know, like, how do I feel about that?
I guess for me personally, like, if I was matched up to someone and somebody turned one of my characters into like a kaiju level monster, I think that'd be really neat. I don't know. I just think that'd be kind of rad.
It's all about like interpreting, and like that's why I loved like like the other two characters in the other comic being humanized. Like, I thought that's really cool because not only that, you're not just putting those characters in a different universe, but they're coming up with completely new designs that are going to have to reflect the original designs of the characters, or like, I don't know, like, Zoe kind of reminds you of, not like an old lady, but like, you know what I mean? She's got like that, like,
no, man, be real.
Demeanor.
She totally reminds you of an old lady.
Yeah, but she's got like that, like, kind demeanor. Like, she's very polite. Like, she's just, I don't know.
I think the juxtaposition of the fact that she's so nice and so sweet, and in this comic she's a beast, I think is what made it compelling for me, because she's so cute. And you go to like from super cute and innocent to like this, and I'm just like, oh, I love it. It was just great to see a fearsomeness in a character that I wouldn't expect. I'm going down like the Wayback Machine hole, but there was this thing that kind of blew up in the community back when we were like super into the forums and Discord didn't exist, which was sort of the Hunger Games randomizer, in which everybody plugged in their characters and they're like, all right, all these Void characters are in the Hunger Games and we're gonna see who kills who and stuff like that. And there was this whole just series of where Jackster's character Dolly, who was this sweet cherubic innocent little furry thing, killed everybody. And it's completely out of character and it was completely ridiculous, but everyone loved it, including the artist himself. And he was like, I'm running with it. Just did all these like brief little shitpost comics and posted them on the forums of just Dolly being just a merciless beast. And I was just like, what if the artist was just like, well, I want my character to be loyal to how I depicted her and blah, blah, blah. But like that they were open to that. I just thought it was a cool exploration.
For sure. It's like, yeah, no, I totally agree. That's kind of like the point of like, I guess, shitposts and stuff, right? Like you want to laugh at your characters. You want to like, see people's different interpretations of it. I think it's just, I don't know. It's really cool to me.
Yeah. Which is to say, it's like either way, I don't really think that there is a wrong or right. If someone is completely loyal to your character and depicts them exactly as your bio and reference sheet shows, I think that's totally fine. But if they want to go outside the box or do something fantastical, I think that's part and parcel of working with other people and seeing how they see things. And I know, at least in my opinion, when I've battled people and they've drawn my characters stylistically or conceptually in different ways, I've definitely lifted from that. Like, I love the way you draw, Remy's dreadlocks. I'm totally going to try doing that going forward.
Yeah, like, steal it. Just steal.
You're not
no, like, obviously you can, like, ask and stuff, but, like, for real.
I love that. Steal it, TM.
But, okay, yeah, for real, though. Like, if you actually, like, that's the best part about fan art, in my opinion. Like, when I get it, like, like, I'm so happy that I got it, but I'm also like, like, what did you do differently? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I want to see. But anyways, these comics, I think they both warrant like really good, a really good discussion about, how people portray characters,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I just think it's cool. But I'm gonna get back on topic probably.
Okay, this is totally on topic because it's completely incongruous and like a total like side thing.
Yeah,
but I need
to
talk about this panel because I can't get over just how loyal you guys were to the actual clasp of a necklace. You guys could have just made this a rudimentary necklace. I don't know why I'm geeking out over that. That you guys obviously had a reference. That or you're just very intimately, introduced to jewelry. But I just couldn't get over that panel. I was like, wow, that's really nice.
Really did the same thing. I was like, whoa, like that looks like the real thing.
It's like awesome. Real life.
Yeah, this just goes to show the little things, you guys, they matter. You might not think they do, but if you're like me and Kozi, it does. It's a cool little extra thing. What else? I don't know. I'm going through this comic and it's so good. Like the parts with like the action and everything, like the sound effects. Like I know Magistella is like a boss at this stuff, so it's really cool to see. Just all of it, like you know that it was Magistella, and it's really good.
That and just something to note: these are two new characters from these established voiders. They basically just made these new characters, and then we're like, "Hey, is that tag team? We're going in." So it was really great to see their introduction in a tournament.
Yeah, like it's honestly, I feel like I almost already know them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. From both sides, like it's really nice to see that kind of what's the word, like representation of new characters and watching them come
do their thing.
Yeah, I don't know, it's really neat, and it was really well done. Gosh, yeah, I don't know, I think we'll just have to end it there though, to be honest. Like it was just a really
we digress.
Yeah, it was a really good comic. The ending was amazing. They were like hugging at the end, and I just like I kind of cried a little bit, but it was fine.
It was a total bromance, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, like I really want to see how it continues. I don't care where or when. I want more. So yeah, that's it for me. I think we can move on probably to the next comics.
To the next and final, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
It is J-Pop and Rue and Wormwood versus Lucy and Pepperbox. I'm just gonna bust it up with Just a Rhymes and Neens, since they're at the top. Let me get there. So first and foremost, I gotta say, I miss your guys' art. Welcome back. I'm so glad to see it, and I'm so glad you guys are in this tournament. This felt like a total throwback to the voids of old, but with a modern twist. Like a friend you haven't seen for a while, but now they have a glow up. So hey, thanks for that. It wasn't until I read Sai's comment noting your clean inks that I realized that you guys didn't use any grayscaling or values at all. yet still manage to make everything look distinct and pull your characters out of your environments and stand out amidst backgrounds with just, spot blacks and just composition. I had to reread it after I read that comment because I was like, oh, I mean, that's super hard to just use black and white starkly without any way to differentiate characters from the background. But you guys did a fantastic job, and I thought that was something that was worthy of note. Let me see. The subtle desaturation of your inks on the flashback sequence that I believe begins on page 3 was delightfully subtle. Considering you guys are working in nothing but black and white, this definitely serves its purpose to inform the reader that what we're looking at is a flashback, but you're not going too outside of your stark style for it to stand out. And it felt like in line with the look without being too like, oh, this totally takes me out of it. Also the expressions, which I know is freaking fully just a rhymes. Like, I missed the utter insanity of those expressions. It's great to see them on Void again. It was hilarious to see the character irritation or surprise just be cranked up to 50 and have them look like they're going through, like, I don't know, a heart attack or something.
So good.
All right. So there was a general air of congestion, I believe, to your pages that I think is left up to preference. I had to read it a couple times and I found myself just going, well, I don't know. I don't know if this is a crit or if this is more of just, this is my preference. I personally didn't mind because it gave off a sort of Saturday funnies or pulp comic feel in the format. But I can also see the argument for having your scenes be bigger and affording panel space for your establishing shots or big moments because everything felt pretty packed in. You have a great hook as to what you guys could possibly introduce into this tournament, which leaves me wondering how the votes will suss out regarding that. I love the fact that it's not just this side. The previous ones that we've talked about all kind of ended with hooks or cliffhangers or if you want to see more, vote for me. So it's really cool to see just witchery, especially during this month, and just have it be thematic. Like I definitely want to see more spooky stuff, especially in October. And considering I believe these are both dead characters, that it's cool to see that utilized. Also, I love the way you guys stylize Lucy. I just love that she's just a square. I super dug. Do you have anything to add, Deji?
No, I love this comic. I thought it was awesome. I love the art style. Poor Pepperbox. She's just, I mean, girl, I feel you. Like,
Pepperbox. What about J-Pop? Somebody stole his dick.
What about his dick? Yeah, and like, I don't know, but
these are the questions of our times. Mysteries that need to be solved.
It really is. But yeah, and just like you were talking about like shapes and stuff, it's really cool. It's kind of like a weird breath of fresh air. I don't know how to explain it. I really enjoy this art style. It's awesome. I can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I want to say that I have complaints, but I really don't.
Oh my god, same. Like it's so good.
Mm-hmm. Like if anything, I would be curious to see how you guys would utilize color in this. But I think that your inks are really solid. That I'm undecided.
Yeah, so. It's kind of interesting. You wonder if like going full black and white for like something with a deadline is actually more efficient because while you got things that are colored and stuff, it might end up looking unfinished. But if you have just a black and white comic, I feel like you can kind of focus more on quality or like quality of other things. Like it's interesting how when you have deadlines, how you have to kind of divvy up the work to make it fit the deadline. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know.
For anybody who's battled, I think for anyone who's battled, I think that's the toss-up, right? You're like, I'm in a tournament. Do I go black and white and try and go ham and hope that my opponent doesn't do a fully rendered comic in full color and does better than me? Because I think the jury's still out as to what the community wants more. Like, is there a leaning more towards colored completed comics, or is there a leaning towards completed work but in really good black and white?
Yeah, and like it's kind of running the risk of like if I color this, it might be unfinished. But if I make it black and white, then I can probably completely finish it. And it's like, I don't know, like sometimes it's like you could probably, color, but it's too risky, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's like one of those things that I thought about while reading this comic. I'm like, man, the line art is so clean. Like, it's just, where do you find the time?
Yeah, and based off of the comments, I think Neen's posted that the work breakdown was that Justa Rhymes did all the pencils and the scripting, I believe, and they did the inking.
Nina's got like super good inks, like in all of her
Word.
art. I'm like, wow, this is gorgeous.
This is a team up for the ages.
They really complemented each other. Yeah, just really good job.
Alrighty. Shall we move on unless you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, we shall move on.
All right, we're gonna swing on over to Fred and Kubo, which is Pepperbox and Lucy. Okay, let me see. First off the bat, it is so neat to see you two go from opponents in what I believe was the Speed Death tournament. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, to allies in this tag team. For those who don't know, I think either Kubo or both Fred and Kubo established that Pepperbox and Lucy became something of an item during Speed Death. So I don't know. I love linear stories. I love you guys intertwining things. It's just so neat to see character development further explored in another tourney. And I just low key feel kind of bad for this couple because it's always just high stakes. They're like, we can't have a peaceful moment. This is life or death.
So interesting, though.
Yeah. I do know that Putrid Vodka, who's kind of on a commenting role for this tourney, by the by, mentioned that they got Requiem for a Dream vibes with this television motif. But I found myself hearkening to the trailer for WandaVision because this felt like such a wrong kind of perfection. I really dug that. I don't know the word for it, but the description of feeling like you're upside down in a too-tight space that Putrid mentioned, I think was very apt. It felt unsettling. It gave me sort of like a feeling when I read the comic, and whether or not that was intentional, I really like that. Thanks for making me feel weird, you guys. I appreciate it. The use of color on this battle, as Gregory's comment mentioned, is also a good thing to point out. I knew exactly where we were scene to scene, based off of the warmth of the hellscape, which was red, and the coolness of the sitcom, which was green. Like, if you had removed all of the word bubbles, I wouldn't have been confused, and I think that's a impressive feat. I just think that's really great. I think if I had any complaints, I feel that your cover art overhyped me. And I know that cover art is sort of TM signature of Kubo's. Like, most of his battles have a lot of cover art because I think the intention is they want them to be sort of like, here's the latest issue of this comic. And I really dig that. But I wanted to see the style that you have for the cover is, let me click it and put it in the chat so you guys can see, is very, I don't know. What would you describe that style as? Deji.
What's so I was laughing at I was just looking at the comic. I was just laughing at the swear to Antares.
No worries, you're killing enough time that I can link this. Here we go. Okay, my thoughts are back.
But yeah, like the style regarding I don't know what to call it, but
it's very 80s Breakfast Club, like the Babysitter's Club book series. It gives me that look, and I expected that look when I turned the page, and what we got was not that look.
Yeah, I was expecting more of like a retro, I don't know. I feel like that might have been, compensated by adding some funky patterns and stuff to like that
the scenario 80s stuff. Arcade carpet.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But if you kind of would have referenced, really old sitcoms or even cliches of it, because I know this kind of scenario has been used before in media. I just can't think of any scenarios. But yeah, I feel like it could have really been upped, but I don't know. It still gives off that vibe a little bit, regardless. I think they got the point through that they wanted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I really dug the way you guys utilize your opponents. Freaking J-Pop with his fork and knife hands. I love that so much. For those who don't know, as far as I remember, that is based off of a Scar match. And for those who haven't been here in the Before 4 time or forever, like Cozy Spoon has, the Scar matches way back when in Old Void were redonkulous. And I doff my hat to you, Jester Rhymes, that you have stuck with this because I love this scar. I think it's the best.
So good.
Was there anything that you wish to add?
I don't know. I really loved it. I loved the style. I loved the coloring. I thought it was hilarious. With like bubs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That part, like, I don't know. I was like in a cafe when I was reading this, and I was like literally like laughing my ass off because I thought it was so funny, and I don't know, maybe it's not funny to other people, but I was just like laughing because I'm like, look at this like man cat, like I love it.
It's just chilling out.
And then, yeah, you know, and like looks like my girlfriend and my sex cat are at it again. The laughing from the audience, and I love that part.
Yeah,
I don't know, and you can, yeah, and like I don't know, I can't ever pronounce her name right. Is it Antares? Antares?
I say Antares. Maybe it's like tomato.
I don't know, but like I swear to Antares, and I'm like, that's so interesting. It's almost like, yeah, they're using like the universe that they're set in, and it's almost like it's the equivalent of God, which is like, I don't know. I love that. I think that's really cool. You know, storytelling and pulling from past comics, and yeah, I don't know. I love this comic.
Also, just to go back to the peanut gallery and the Void lecture notes, Justin says, Nina yells at me whenever I forget. Mind you, talking about the scars, which is the fork and knife hands. And Nina says, I let him get away with it in our comic because he's a ghost, so technically the hands can be whatever. Fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah, that's completely valid.
Gosh, but I do have to say, I really dig this coloring. Like, I am only just, like, full disclosure, I'm not really a colorist, so I'm always amazed to see people utilize unconventional color palettes when it comes to their comics. Like, I just think about this page 2, and you see J-Pop, and his skin is green. Like, I never would have thought of doing that, and I just love the fact that that's even a concept in someone's mind. Like, not to completely nerd out about color theory, but it's just really neat to see something that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it all fits like so well. It's just, I don't even know enough about art. Like, I'll just like sit here and be like, yeah, I like this because it, like, what's that meme where it's that guy and he's like, this tree is an aspen because of the way it is. Like, that's how I feel sometimes. Like, it's beautiful. I don't know why. It just is.
I am an artist and yet I know nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, I think this matchup specifically leaves me uncertain as to who I would want to move forward because I love both of the comics for completely different reasons. I can speak English. Reasons. And you guys utilize your strengths in a way that really leaves the voter and the person who's commenting like, oh, geez, what do I like more? And I think I hope that there's more battles like that because I love being a part of the community who is voting and commenting going, well, I don't know what I like more. Like, that is a great position to be in because that means that both comics were good.
Exactly. Yeah, but either way, I hope whatever way it goes, we see more of both stories. I kind of want to see more of these scenarios with, you know, warping around with like reality and stuff. Yeah, I really want to see more of that. Like, I don't care if it's like, you know, in the form of a BV because all these, both of these characters are dead, but like.
And like this matchup, I think is a great idea. Like another like nod to the random generator who matched up like both of these opponents because they both deal with zany abilities and things that they can do that they just mesh together so well. And it's evident in what they decided to run with on their respective sides.
Exactly. And everyone portrayed it super well on both sides. Like, yeah, it's super good.
Just, you know, TLDR, thanks for making this hard for us.
Yeah.
I'll see you on the voting booth.
I just want to talk.
But yeah, I mean, unless there is any last minute things that you want to add, I think we've reached the end.
I think we have. I think I'm good.
All right, cool. Dude, we got a day left. Go, please comment. Please vote on all of these battles. All of these artists work incredibly hard. And we reap the benefits of just reading fantastic stuff. So definitely make your voice heard. Have the people that you want to go forward make it to the next round, and hopefully we'll be featuring round 2 as well. And the possible winner.
And the winner. Oh, I'm so excited.
I know, right? Well, anyways, this has been Cozy Spoon. It's your cue.
Oh my god, I thought that was you leaving. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just be here on my own. But yeah.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? It's like, all right, I'm out.
That timing did not work. But yeah. And I am the co-host, Deji.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Okay, bye. signing off.